Maybe it's okay.
Alright, so we are back from Vietnam and I made a small intro for this video on the interesting sites in Vietnam, and there'll be more shots of Vietnam throughout this video. So this will be like a post-travel vlog kind of format because I wanted to enjoy my time and my travels there and not whipping out my camera all the time and talking to the camera. Number one, because it could be very dangerous because it's a lot of streets and a lot of traffic and I could get knocked down, and number two, I really want to enjoy my time there. So in this video, I'll put down how much we spent at the different places that we were at, what you can see, things to take note of, and also some of the mistakes that I've made so that you guys don't make it. So me and my wife were in Vietnam for 5 days, of which we visited 2 cities/town, Da Nang and Hoi An. So Da Nang has an international airport and the airport is great, so that's the only place you could land to go around that region. So the airport is really clean, it's spacious, and really easy to get around. So from Da Nang, we took a short trip to Hoi An, which is about 30 to 40 minutes drive, and I'll take you through all those details as we move along. So for the flights, we took Vietjet Air, which according to my sister-in-law is the budget airline for Vietnam, and the flight for me and my wife came up to roughly $702 with all the taxes in. So this is roughly $351 per pax for a two-way flight to Da Nang International Airport from Singapore. So once we landed in Vietnam, I got a Vietnam data plan which will last 30 days with unlimited data, and that cost me roughly 170,000 Vietnamese dong or roughly 10 Sing dollars. So once all that is done, all the admin stuff was settled, we booked a Grab to take us to our Airbnb. So Grab car was roughly 70,000 dong or $4. So I'm a huge Airbnb nerd, I love the experience, I love the homestays, and now the Vietnam Jorden is going to show you how the Airbnb stay is like. So this is our hotel room. I forgot to bring the mic. Therefore we're going to record externally with this mic, but I think that works. So this is the room. I think it's like 50... Let me check. Let me check the price. So it's $57 Sing dollar for 2 nights. Comes out to less than $30 a night. Pretty good stay. Actually it's pretty basic though, like a bed. As you can see, this is the bed. You have like a small little study corner. That's where all the camera stuff is right now. The bag, lens hood, all that blah blah blah. And then you have the toilet. A hot water shower. You won't need hot water here because the weather is so hot already. Oh,
That's so cool.
toilet paper that doesn't need a roll. But yeah, so that's the room. We're gonna grab some food. I hope the audio works, so I'm really praying hard the audio works. So in Da Nang City, there are quite a few bridges there, and there's a very iconic one right in the city, which is the Dragon Bridge. So this is like the most iconic bridge you will have in Da Nang City, and if you want to look at the bridge, you could just ask the locals there, they will know where to point to. So we took a short walk from our Airbnb to find food, and the first meal that we had in Vietnam was pho and a soft drink because the weather is extremely hot down there. And in total, lunch cost us 145,000 Vietnamese dong or $8 Sing. So after lunch, we took a walk around the CBD area to look for a money changer because it's a lot cheaper to change in town or in the marketplace than at the airport. So we learned this the hard way because at the airport, we changed a little bit of Vietnamese dong and we had to pay a 5% tax or fee that the airport charges the banks. So a hot tip here is to change money in the market area, especially where you see like a cho, which kind of means market. These are the best places that you can change money from. So the money changers there are usually like goldsmith or jewelers, so you could always just walk in and ask if there's a currency exchange available. So right after that, we went on to get some coffee from Con Cafe. It's kind of like Starbucks but Vietnamese, and it's really good. So I think coffee is not really expensive. I'll just put the price up here somewhere because I forgot what's the price right now. So in that same area, we kind of chanced upon a market called Cho Han Market. So over there, they sell apparels, bags, display items, souvenirs, all that stuff. And you do see some branded stuff there as well, but those are dupes. And if you purchase them, do try to ask for some negotiation so you could bring the price a bit lower. So right after the little shopping experience we had some time to kill because I'm only excited for the night market, and we took a short stroll along the Han River, which is a really long stroll to be honest, and the weather was hot and it's a killer. But we managed to do something that I really enjoy, which is taking some nice photos, and I'll just put it on the screen so that you guys can take a look at it. So being a night market junkie, I love street food a lot. So the night market only opens at 5 to 6-ish PM and it closes around 11 PM. So if you're looking for a dinner spot, do consider these night markets because they're a lot cheaper and you can get pretty good food. So in Da Nang Night Market, there is two main sections here. One is for crafts and souvenirs and the other one is for food. So for dinner that night, we ate some octopus tentacles, we had some meat skewers, which came up to roughly 100,000 Vietnamese dong or $5.60 Sing. So that was it for the first day, and on the second day we woke up early, we got on a bus and made our way to Bana Hills. So early morning today, day 2, cute hair that the lady gave us. She's very good at taking photos. So now we're waiting for our driver. We paid like 1.4 mil, which comes up to maybe like $80–90 Sing for a day trip to Bana Hills. So that's the hill with the hands, right? The bridge and the hands, that kind of thing. So it covers the transport from the hostel that we are staying right now, which is this one here. This hostel, it covers us from here, and then the guy will fetch us to Bana Hills, which is like a fair 10–15 minute drive, I guess. And then we're gonna have a cable car ride, we're gonna have lunch, and then he will drive us back here, which will be like 4–5 PM by then. So it's like a full day kind of thing, which I think is pretty okay. Definitely there are better deals out there. I was checking out Klook. I think they have like $80 just for that tour alone, but then you have to bring your own transport there. So if you do drive in Vietnam, I think that's perfect. But then if you are like traveling like me, then probably you need to have someone that can drive you there because it's going to be a lot easier for you. And then Mary Lou, like early on, we're just taking some photos. Look at her, come on. Look at that. So like the ladies are editing her photos right now. The women and her photos, yeah. So the lady here is taking photo for this lady here. That's the BTS. But the weather's really hot right now, so it's crazy hot actually. It's crazy hot. Look at that. Hot, hot, hot. So we got on our bus and made our way to Bana Hills that's owned by Sunway, which is a theme park and attraction operator. So for some reason, even though we went on a weekday, it was still packed as hell. So if you really do like nice photos on the Golden Hand Bridge, consider staying a night at Bana Hills, but it does come with a cost. So at the top of Bana Hills, our guide took us towards the Golden Hand Bridge, which required us to change another cable car. We changed a couple of cable cars, to be honest. So we got a whole cable car to ourselves because everybody else is slow. And that's Bana Hills. So it's like a theme park. You have like different castles here. And right now we are going to that. That's the only thing we paid for, to go to the Golden Hand Bridge. But yeah, but it's really nice up here. Weather's really cold, temperature's nice. Yeah, that's the whole of Bana Hills. So once we are at the Golden Hands Bridge, as you walk through the bridge, you will see a lot of people there taking photos. And if you finish the whole bridge, you'll end up at the French village where there are European buildings, displays, installations, and some of them are pretty IG worthy, except that there is a large crowd there. But something that I really enjoy at Bana Hills is really how the park was laid out. There are performers everywhere doing their stuff, playing the saxophone. Some of them are doing some performance. There are meet and greets with different kind of characters as well. So if you are bringing kids there, I think it's worth staying a night at Bana Hills, but that will set you back roughly $150 to $200 a night. But if you're like me going as a couple, I would suggest skipping the lunch buffet because I think it's a little bit underwhelming and the cost of lunch is about 350,000 dong per person, which was money that we could have saved for some other stuff. And for dinner that night, we went back to the night market to have seafood platter. So the dinner consists of 2 lobsters, some oysters, some clams, some shrimp, which cost us 400,000 dong. And then we visited other stores as well to eat other types of seafood, and the total came up to roughly 600,000 dong for that night. And on day 3, we had some banh mi for breakfast, somewhere nearby in a coffee shop. So it cost us about $35,000 each, and it comes with a coffee or tea, depending on what you like. So right after breakfast, we got a car from our Airbnb host to visit Marble Mountains, which is another attraction within the Da Nang City area. And Marble Mountains is really nice. I enjoyed it, but I think it's not suitable for people who has mobility issues because there's a lot of steps which can be uneven and a lot of walking and hiking to do. So transportation from Da Nang City to Marble Mountains and then to Hoi An is 350,000 dong. So this includes a 1-hour visit to Marble Mountains, but it excludes the admission tickets to the mountains itself. So the tickets for the Marble Mountains came up to about 110,000 dong per person, including the lift that brings you up to the mountain before you start exploring the caves. So at Marble Mountains, there are a lot of caves there, and every single cave has a different theme or a different kind of statue. They have like Guan Yin Ma, they have Buddha, and there are some other deities as well. So after about an hour of hiking and walking, climbing to caves, we headed off to Hoi An, and the first thing that we had there was white rose. So in Hoi An, white rose is a dish that you cannot miss, and we ate them from the famous restaurant, which is also called White Rose. And this restaurant supplies all the white roses throughout the whole town. So white roses are like little dumplings with meat and shrimp, and this was about 70,000 dong. But if you were to eat at other restaurants or other places, they do cost a little bit more. And in that particular restaurant, White Rose, you can see the workers there making white roses on the spot, and they were pretty cool about us taking some photos and taking some videos of that. So right after having the white roses, we took a stroll around the ancient city, which is the heart of Hoi An. So there are many F&B outlets serving Vietnamese food, Western food, and even coffee. So there's a lot of coffee there. And the best thing about the ancient city is that it's very picturesque. So it can be a little bit crowded at certain spots just before the night markets open. So in the later part of the evening, if you walk towards the river, you get to go on boat rides. You are able to put water lanterns into the river for good luck. And guess what? I bumped into an ex-colleague or a friend who happens to be there as well, and it's a big surprise for the trip. So as we ended our trip, we are on the last day of this holiday tour, right? So we attended a lantern making class, which took about half a day, and you get to bring home the lanterns that you made. So this whole class was about 2 to 3 hours, and it cost us about 350,000 dong. And right after that, we were just chilling around town, meeting with friends for some lunch, and that was kind of how my trip went. So definitely there are a lot of little things that I didn't add into the video because I don't want this video to be too long, otherwise it's gonna be like a 30-minute kind of video, which I dislike editing. But in total, here's the breakdown of what we spent. So for both of us as a couple, we spent about $900 each for this trip, and this included our flight, which is about $350. Airbnb for both Da Nang and Hoi An is about $120 for 4 nights. And the rest of the expenses includes the food, the drinks, the transportation between the different cities, and the admissions to different attractions. So now let's talk about the biggest lessons that I've learned there. Is number 1, and then we visited other stores as well to eat other types of seafood, and the total came up to roughly 600,000 dong for that night. Hold much lesser cash because most places do accept digital card payments. And to be honest, if you're a miles junkie or a cashback junkie, this can work very well in your favor. So for example, I paid the lantern making class with my trust card, which came up to $39.83 for 700,000 Vietnamese dong. So this is roughly 17,500 Vietnamese dong for $1, and compared to the money changer rates that we got, which was roughly 17,000 dong for $1. So some might argue that it's not much, it's like a 2% difference, but let's say if you're spending $500 there, you get extra $10, which is 2 extra meals. And the other benefit you have is that you don't get loose change, which you cannot really do much. Like if I bring the money back home right now, I'm kind of stuck with that until I go back to Vietnam. And the next mistake I made, or the biggest boo-boo I made, was booking the flights. So I didn't enter my full name and my wife's full name, which cost us like $25 to get them changed at the airport. So that is something you want to take note of if you are booking your flight. I kind of missed out that little middle name kind of thing, because Chinese name, we don't have a middle name. So the last lesson that I learned is that maybe I would consider a hotel in the future, but that's really up for debate because depending on the vibes and the feels that you're going for, it could be very different, and it's a very personal choice. So if you're going with the hotel route, you'll get a luxurious feel, and maybe it will cost about 2 times more at $50 to $60 a night for a mid-tier hotel. But with Airbnbs, you do get to bond with the locals, and the feel is a little bit more localized to me. But as a solo traveler, or maybe as a couple, staying in homestays or Airbnb would give you a very different experience. So like for our experience at our homestay or our Airbnb, we were near a bar and we met some beautiful people there where we could exchange experience, chit chat, and really bond over a beer or two. So this brings me to the end of the vlog. I don't know if you consider this a vlog, but okay, the vlog. And I hope that this has given you some ideas on things that you can do in Da Nang or even Hoi An if you're planning a trip to Vietnam. And if you do appreciate content like this, dropping a like will help us a lot. Subscribe if you haven't. And let me know, have you been to Da Nang or Hoi An? Could I have added any more things into my itinerary, or did I miss anything big on the trip? And as always, I wish you guys all the best. Thank you guys so much for watching. Invest safe, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.